had to take my frog to the vet. My frog, Shoe, my Pac-Man frog. Had to take him to the vet, and it's been a little confusing trying to get answers as to what's wrong. So I wanted to talk about it. I figured I'd show you guys what he's looking like. Frogs do breathe through their skin, so that's why you really don't want to introduce a lot of foreign material or fragrances or anything like that onto their body. So, gloves. This is Shoe. Shoe has a lump, and I don't know where this lump came from. So I'm gonna take you back to where I first noticed an issue. I took him to the vet about a month and a half ago because I noticed he had a little lump on his face, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know if it was even anything bad. But it was something new, so I figured I should get it checked out just to make sure he's good. And the first vet really didn't seem concerned about it and said it might just be part of his face. Like, he might just have a lump, and as he's growing and as he's getting older, it's becoming more prominent. So they just said to keep an eye on it and then come back. At first I was like, okay, I just spent like $150 to be told my frog's fine. That's fine. That's part of it. That's part of having animals. It's fine. But something, I don't know, I still did not think it was normal. Something still just felt off about it to me. And when it comes to amphibians, reptiles, these kinds of animals, they can't really tell us if something is hurting. More often than not, they're gonna act like everything's fine, even if something seems off. Now, of course, if they had a more critical, serious health condition, they would stop eating, they would be lethargic. But something minor like this, they're not really gonna let you know if it hurts or not. So I couldn't be the judge of it myself, and even though the vet said that they think it's okay, I don't know. I wanted a second opinion. So about a week later, I call around and I find a vet that had just taken a course on frogs and done a study on frogs. So he had a very refreshed knowledge about frogs and Pac-Man frogs specifically. So he seemed like a good fit. This vet specifically is a drop-off vet. So you bring the animal in, you drop them off, the vet sees them, they call you, you pick up the animal. It's just supposed to help with, the office not being super crowded, and it just makes it more efficient and quicker. I'm sure if there was like emergency situations that you can go in, but for something like this, they just had me drop Shoe off. So dropped him off, came home, waited for them to call me back. Okay, I'm sorry, seeing the patient name as Shoe is just so silly. Anyway, so they did a cytology, which is basically just examining something under a microscope. One common use for it is to examine cancer cells under a microscope. He basically poked the little lump, extracted whatever was inside of it, and looked at it under a microscope. He said that it was mostly white blood cells, so he doesn't really know exactly what's going on. It's not filled with fluid, it's just blood. So he didn't know what was going on. Okay, this is what I get for not working with a script. I completely butchered my sentence here. A majority of this lump was literally just blood. He did say there were white blood cells in there, so there is some sign that an infection is being fought. But it's not like this lump is just a giant lump of pus or a giant infection. So because of that, there is not a clear-cut answer of just this is what's wrong, here's how we fix it. But it wasn't just all red blood cells either, because if that was the case, then I would think the first vet was right and that this is just part of his face. So they gave him some Baytril, which is just a general antibacterial medicine to help clear up. If this was a bacterial infection, this would help clear it up. So he told me to give it to him every other day for 2 weeks and see if it clears up. It did not go down. It did not go down at all, actually. It didn't get bigger, but it didn't go down. He wanted me to do a deep clean of the enclosure to make sure that there was no pockets of bacteria in there that could have irritated him. I clean his enclosure pretty regularly because it's an enclosure that can get very wet very easily. So I clean his enclosure pretty regularly, and I also spot clean when he poops. So to me, that didn't really seem like that could have been what happened, but obviously mistakes happen. So I did a deep clean of it again just to make sure. But like I said, the lump did not get smaller and it did not get worse either, but nothing happened. My theory initially was that maybe when I was feeding him an insect, it bit his face and it caused this little wound that got irritated and is now lumping up. Maybe it's an abscess, but apparently it's not. Took him back 2 weeks later, woke up at like 7 a.m., got him ready, did the drop off, waited for them to call me back, and now we're just doing more of the Baytril because we still don't know what's going on. This time he just did a physical, said it hasn't gotten worse, it hasn't gotten any bigger, but he also agreed with me that it had not gotten any smaller. So he did give me 2 more weeks worth of Baytril to just make sure that the medicine has the chance to do its job. If his body is just being a little more stubborn, maybe 2 more weeks of the medicine will help whatever's going on, help it settle down. But I am 1 week into it and it has not gone down at all. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that? It's right there. So, I don't know. The vet did say he had a, quote, magnificent body shape, though. At least she has that going for him. So he does still have 1 more week of medicine, but if it does not go away, he's gonna need surgery. They're gonna have to do frog surgery. It shouldn't be too invasive since it's just going to be removing a small lump, but it is near his mouth and that's a little risky. So I'm not like super nervous, but I am slightly concerned. And I really don't think it's gonna go away. Like I said, there's only 1 more week of medicine and it hasn't gotten any better. So he's probably gonna need surgery. So that's fun. That's fun. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. Ever since I first started doing this, I have definitely been very aware of the fact that when I show animals to the internet, there are going to be people influenced into buying that animal. And that's perfectly fine. I love to bring awareness to the fact that reptiles, amphibians, all of these animals that are commonly disregarded, that they actually have fun, unique personalities, that they are fun to work with, that you don't need to be scared of these animals. I love to talk about that kind of stuff. I think as long as you do the proper research, that these animals are super fun to work with. But the other side of it, something that I've always wanted to showcase with my channel, is that there is more that goes into taking care of these animals than just getting them the right setup and feeding them and making sure they have water. Like that there can be expenses that go beyond that, and you have to be ready to take that on if you are going to have these animals. Ultimately, I feel like it is good to talk about when things aren't perfect. So I figured I should share this and let you guys know that, yeah, frogs can need to go to the vet too. You might have to take a frog to the vet. I have taken a frog to the vet before. My very first frog I ever got, back when I was a teenager and I worked at Petco, I took home a Pacman frog from Petco and they had overfed it all to hell. Whoever did the morning routine at that Petco would go and throw a ton of crickets into the Pacman frog enclosure, and it was just eating and eating and eating and eating. And because of that, it suffered an impaction. So I took him home, hoped that he would pass his meal after eating so much. He had a prolapse. I took him to the vet. They sewed his little butt back together, but the trauma was so much on this baby Pacman frog that he did not make it. So this is something I have done once before, like 10 years ago. I have taken a frog to the vet, but this is a completely different, unrelated issue. This situation is a little weird. I still don't really know exactly what's going on. I know the internet can be an iffy place to get medical advice for yourself, for your animals, whatever. But his appointment is in a week. So if anyone has ever had something like this happen with their frog and it isn't something that needs to be surgically removed and it isn't something that responds to antibacterial medicine, please let me know. It's not that I don't trust this vet. I honestly think this was the best vet I could have gone to in my area for frogs. I'm just throwing it out there. If there's anything I should bring up to the vet, to any ideas I should throw out there, just let me know. Let me know. But if not, he'll be doing surgery next week. So we got frog surgery going on. So yeah, that's that's what I've been dealing with this week. Yeah. There could be worse things happening to him, obviously. There could be a worse issue than just a small lump that has not been impeding his ability to eat or to go to the restroom or to seem comfortable. Like, he doesn't seem to be in pain, but again, it's really hard to tell with animals like this. So obviously, whatever it is, I want to get it fixed no matter what. But it's just a mystery. I still don't know if my theory holds any weight at all. Like, I don't know if there's anything to that where he could have potentially been bit by an insect and gotten this irritation happening on his face. But it is really weird that it is mostly red blood cells that are inside of the lump. I don't know what's going on. But I decided for this week I would just talk about that. For the rest of this video, let's just do the evening routine for today. I have enclosures I need to check on and see if I need to clean anything. I obviously have to give Shu his medication. My animals will obviously need their nightly round of food. So let's just do that for the rest of the video. But I just wanted to keep y'all in the loop, informed on some of the fun things that can happen when working with animals like this. I'm hoping at least we will have some definitive answer after surgery. Like, after they get it off his face, can they tell me what it is? Because I would love to know exactly what happened so I can make sure it does not happen again. If it is even anything in my control and it wasn't just like a natural health issue that he developed on his own, then obviously there's that. But either way, I would love to know. So we'll figure that out. Anyway, let's get into the evening routine. Okay, I'm gonna give Shu a couple little snacks. I hate doing it. I love hornworms. I have been having to talk myself out of keeping all of them and raising them into moths. Because then what do? I just have a bunch of moths? Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna give them to Shu and I'm gonna douse them in vitamins because while he is dealing with whatever he is dealing with right now, I just want to make sure he is getting just packed with vitamins to help him during this time. So, okay, now for the part I hate. I hate it. I hate it so much. 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 I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, there's a baby. Oh my god, I hate it. I'm not even gonna show you this stuff because I hate it, but I'm gonna feed it to him. I'm sorry. Okay, he's eating it. Yay. And now I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna have to wash the vitamin off his face once he's done, but he got the second one. Yay. Okay, he's done eating now. I'm gonna take out the food from my isopods that I gave them last night. I gave them the option to have a little snack, but I also just gave them their normal isopod blend. I also moved them into these little containers for now because I literally only have 5 rubber ducky isopods, and it's so much easier to be able to find them and make sure they're doing good while I have this small of an amount. So one of these are my rubber ducky isopods and the other are my dairy cow isopods. It is so much easier to find them now that they're in these little setups. I say that and then watch me not be able to find one to show you guys. I think there's one. Yeah, there's one right there. There they are. Bloop. There's little guys. They have all these little pieces of wood to hide on. They have some moss, and then they have a lot of substrate to burrow in. And then there's also a lot of little cut up pieces of cuttle bone, which is a good source of calcium for them. They're doing really good. And then these ones are my dairy cow ones. They have the same setup. Let me see if I can find one to show you guys. These guys are smaller, so they're a lot more elusive. Oh, there we go. There's one. There's 2. There's little guys. Oh, there's 3. Okay. I said they were elusive, and then I found 3 of them so much quicker than I found my other isopods. Yeah, they're all just hanging out. There they are. So that's those guys. And then in here are the springtails and dwarf isopods that will be going into Bug's enclosure. There's a lot of them already. You can see the springtails running around right there. They're getting the food. Also, now I have to fill this enclosure back up again. I went ahead and re-washed the sand so it wouldn't be so dusty. It's a lot better now. Now I can put her back in there. When I was looking over the footage of when I was showing myself setting up this enclosure, I just realized how dusty it was. So I went ahead and washed the sand again, and now I gotta set it back up. Okay, defrosting a Pinky for Buttercup because I tried to give her a peach fuzzy and she was still too small for it. So we're going back to feeding her Pinkies every 5 days, and hopefully soon she can finally take a peach fuzzy. She's just so picky. If the food is even slightly a little large, she's just like, no. She just gives up. I'm still using this to feed her. I offer her the food in a spot that doesn't have, there we go. Fight, 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 fight. In a spot that doesn't have the aspen, so then she can finish eating and then go hide until I come back and check on her, because I give her like, normally I give her like 15 minutes and then check on her because she drops it a lot, but then I'll give it another 15 minutes and eventually she's done and goes and hides. And I feel like this makes her feel more comfortable to eat because she has a space to like go hide afterwards. And then I just gently pick her up and move her back in there. I'm done setting this back up again, so I'm just gonna gently put her back in her enclosure. You're so shiny. Look at you. You are so shiny. But yeah, look, it's not dusty anymore. It's not dusty anymore. Okay. I was trying to make you a hole that you can go into, but that works too. Okay, bye. So that's this week's video. That's all. I am now at like the 6-7 warning, guys. I am now at the 6 to 7 week mark of being off my antidepressants. In some ways, I think I feel worse than I did a week ago, but I don't know. We'll see how things continue to go. I still want to give it a chance. I still want to give my body a chance to like adjust to being off of these before I just like default to going to a different medicine, because I am not anti-medicine in any way. Medicine has saved my life in many ways, and I am still on multiple medications right now. I'm just not on an antidepressant specifically. I feel like I've got enough medications in the mix already. I would really like to avoid having another one thrown in, but we'll see. If I have to get on another one, I have to get on another one. Whatever works, right? Whatever. I might just be lacking in the fun and creative ideas for a little bit because my brain's already a little crowded right now. I don't really have a lot of space to think creatively, but it's fine. I am going to start getting iron infusions next week too because my ferritin levels are absurdly, ridiculously low. I've already had to get 7 rounds of infusions before, and now I have to do it again. So maybe that'll help a little bit. Maybe I'll start feeling a little better after that. We'll see. So yeah, next week we have iron infusions for me and frog surgery for Shu. So, yay. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.